You're listening to localwebradio.fm. Community-minded, locally focused.
You're listening to This Week in Real Estate with Lance and Connie Marples from Sutton WestCoast Realty. Here's your host.
Hello, I am your host, Nick Jaworski, and I am here with Connie Marples from Sutton WestCoast Realty. And today we'll be talking with Connie about staging your home to sell. Connie will be addressing how to get started staging, what the seller can expect to pay to stage their home, and the reality of living in a staged home. Now, before Connie joins us, just a reminder that if you have questions or require assistance, you can reach Connie and her husband/partner in crime, Lance, by telephone at 604-538-8888 and on Facebook at facebook.com/marplesmarketing. Connie, as always, it is great to be talking with you today.
You too, Nick. How you doing?
I am doing well, and this is a topic that I'm interested in because it's something that's very popular right now, right? It's this idea of staging your home and to make it more appealing for somebody who might buy it and may even help the home sell faster, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the industry's changed so much over the years, and now it's really a vital part of the process to make sure your home is staged either professionally, or there's so many things that you can do yourself if you don't have that in your budget. If you walk into a home and you're seeing, you're out, say, viewing 5 or 6 homes, and you come into one that is just lived in, like all of our houses are, it sort of stands out, but not necessarily in a good way. So you want to get on the bandwagon, and you're competing with other homes, so you want yours to look its best, right?
For sure. Now, what's the first step? We got to start somewhere. So what's the first step in staging a home?
Well, I know you've heard it before, and it's not something you want to hear, but you've got to clear out the clutter.
Right.
And for some people, this is a really huge task, especially if you've been in the same home a long time. And, it's really hard to get started, but once you do, it feels amazing. You start clearing out the cobwebs, and you just feel lighter. And, if it's too daunting a task, there are professionals that can help you with this. We work with a lady by the name of Laura Martins, who's local here, and she's a professional organizer and clutter remover. I don't know exactly what she calls herself, but she does an amazing job to, get into those boxes and things that are, you almost don't see them anymore when you're living with it every day, but a prospective buyer will notice.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. And the other thing is, people, when they're coming in to look at a home to move into, they want to see the storage. So they do look in your closets and cupboards. And if they're packed, they just don't show well, right? I mean, yeah. So that's important. And not just the clutter, but also putting things away. Like if you have a lot of collectibles, sure, they're lovely when you're living with them and that's your passion, whatever, but people don't want to see your china collection or your copper pots, if you've got 40 of them those kind of things are better to be stored away. So, a lot of people will just throw everything in the garage, but that's not necessarily a good idea either, because a garage is a big selling feature for a lot of buyers, especially men. And it doesn't show well either when it's full to the rafters.
Right.
So this is a time where you want to analyze your stuff and go, okay, we've been hanging on to this forever. Maybe it's time we Craigslisted it free or gave it away or sold it or what have you, and get rid of some of those pieces that you don't need. And the furniture as well. Most of us have a lot of furniture in our houses. We've accumulated stuff. So too much of it in a room will make it feel small. So you may need to move some of the extra seating out, or if you've got a giant armoire in your bedroom that sort of shrinks the room, those are things that will make a big difference to the buyer. And you need to make sure there's ample space to move around in. Yeah,
I mean, the goal, I'm assuming, is to not only make things look clean, but also to make everything look larger.
Exactly. Very important. Yeah.
Now, okay, so we could do it ourselves, and not knocking that at all. That's just something you have to commit to in terms of time and resources. But if you were to pay someone to come stage your home, what kind of range are we talking about in terms of price?
Well, you can have someone come in and just do a 1-hour consult and walk through and go, okay, you should do this, and I would recommend that. It costs about $100 an hour. 2 hours of that will get you a lot of information, things that you don't see yourself necessarily, and it's money well spent. If you need to have someone come in and physically do it, if it's a vacant home, obviously that's a lot more because then they're renting furniture and bringing things in. So the prices can really range all the way up to, say, $3,000, $3,300 if your home's vacant and you have to rent everything to bring it in. But that's more for new builds and revenue properties. So there's a big range.
Yeah, that is a wide range. Now, but let's say that I'm going to do it myself. What's something that I could do besides just removing stuff? Obviously, that's important. So what would be a next step?
Well, I always think it's a good idea to invite a friend over, someone who you trust, so you can walk through with them through each room. A fresh set of eyes can really do wonders. So go through with a critical eye and look for broken or dirty plate covers. You know, the light switches can get faded over time, and it's such a cheap little redo to throw those new ones in. Do you need touch-up paint? You know, have you always meant to replace that light fixture in the dining room that you hate because it's from the 80s or whatever?
Right.
If so, you know, now's the time to do it. And you don't need to spend a ton of money. You can go to a local lighting store or even a hardware store and just get something really simple, and it makes a huge difference. As well, I think investing in things that you can take with you. You know, it's a good excuse to buy new bedding, and that makes the world of difference for your master bedroom. And as far as decorative pieces go, again, just keep out a few large pieces. Lots of little things make it feel cluttered. If you've got like one nice big candle and a stack of books and one vase on a side table or something, that looks much better than having a ton of little things out. I'm not a believer in putting all your photographs away. I think that people, you know, they like to have a peek of who actually lives there. So don't worry about that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to overthink it. Just remember that simple is best.
Yes, for sure. And we've got to take a quick break, but we'll come back to this. We'll be right back with Connie Marples from Sutton WestCoast Realty. And when we return, we'll be continuing our conversation on staging a home before selling. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
More This Week in Real Estate after this.
Are you struggling with a dental or oral health issue? Dr. Norm Ickert from Ickert Dental Implant Center is committed to improving your quality of life with the very best in modern and advanced dentistry. You can catch Dr. Ickert on the Health Channel for the Healthy Smiles Oral Health Show here on localwebradio.fm and at the Ickert Dental Implant Center in Langley at 866-981-1381. That's 866-981-1381.
Take control of your financial future with Sound Investing with Byron Stryloff, Senior Investment Advisor and Chartered Financial Planner with over 30 years of experience on the Business Channel on localwebradio.fm.
Shopping for the lowest mortgage rate? Looking to refinance? Catch the Mortgage Newscast with Jared Dreyer on the Business Channel on localwebradio.fm. It's time now for more This Week in Real Estate.
All right, we are back, and I am still here with Connie Marples, and we're discussing living in a staged home while trying to sell. Now, Connie, when sellers are dealing with showings and the stress of selling a home, isn't it even more stressful to be living in a house that is staged?
Well, you'd be surprised how quickly you can become accustomed to living with less stuff around. It actually makes the whole process a lot simpler because when you go to clean up for your showing, if there's not tons of things on the counter, etc., it makes it obviously a lot easier. The kitchen, for an example, normally a lot of people have a lot of their stuff all over the counters, but if you just keep your key things out that you use every day, it just makes it simple, clean, and looks good. So it's not too bad. Now, if you're renting furniture because you don't have many things, and say you need a new dining room suite because the space has always been sitting empty or what have you, you just have to be a little bit careful. But it really does make the process easier if you've had it properly staged. So don't be afraid of that.
Now, of course, finding somebody that you trust to do the staging for you can be stressful, of course. And do you have a stager that you work with locally that you would recommend?
Yes, there are several good local stagers, but we very often use a woman by the name of Janet Williams, and she's from Magic Staging. She's really organized and professional and has decent rates. It doesn't cost you too much money, and she's got a very, very creative eye, so she can kind of zip in and swoop things together. She has some tips that she mentioned to me. I told her I was going to be doing this today, and a couple of things she said is make sure you, of course, do the small repairs or updates like we've already talked about. Mm-hmm. Furniture placement, not only removing furniture, but furniture placement can make the room flow. You don't want to walk in and there's a couch blocking your way into the family room. You may like it that way because that's the best way to watch TV, but that doesn't mean it's going to help sell your home well. So right. Furniture placement is very key. And then, a few new accessories, pillows and art, and maybe a nice throw can make a huge difference in how fresh and kind of nice your home will look.
Now we're talking about this investment of time and money to stage your home, but we have to keep in mind, of course, that this is a small investment in order to either increase the asking price of your house or the price that it sells for, or even just to get it off the market sooner, right?
Oh, exactly. That is the biggest thing is, it shows much better, so you're more likely to get your asking price, but nobody wants to have their house on the market for a long time, and the fresher it looks, the quicker you'll sell it. Another example of that is the kitchen, for instance, where we just touched on. One thing about staging I notice is when you look at the photos on MLS, and you can see the homes that have been staged and the ones that haven't, and sometimes I'll look and I'll think, wow, the photographer or the realtor, whoever took the pictures, there's actually dirty dishes in the sink. I can see them, right? Or too many fridge magnets and a dirty old dish towel. So, when you're doing the showings, if the house isn't perfect and you leave a cup in the sink or whatever, that's not the end of the world, but you got to have it looking good for when the photos are done, because it's just people are sort of staring at the picture and analyzing it, and you notice it a lot more, right?
Right. And if other people are doing it, then you need to do it. Otherwise, you look worse by comparison.
Exactly. Yeah. It definitely makes a big difference.
Now, Connie, just real quick, do you have any final words of advice from somebody who deals with the housing market every day?
I think it's worth having a professional come in, even if it's just for a consult. The realtor you're working with, may be able to do that. I mean, I certainly help people with my suggestions and recommendations, but it's just something that is very important for people to do to get their home sold quickly, as we've talked about.
Yeah, I think that's great, and we've really covered the topic, and you've got people you could recommend if people want to contact you. But unfortunately, we are out of time, and if you can think of somebody who might benefit from what we have talked about here today, please go ahead and forward this podcast to them. I'm sure that they'll thank you for it. And of course, you can always reach Lance and Connie Marples by telephone at 604-538-8888 and online at SurreyWhiteRockHomes.com. Connie, as always, thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you, Nick.
You've been listening to This Week in Real Estate with Lance and Connie Marples from Sutton WestCoast Realty. This high-energy team brings their extensive real estate experience and keen eye for local market conditions to every transaction, ensuring their clients achieve their real estate goals, whether buying or selling. Call Lance and Connie Marples today at 604-538-8888. That's 604-538-8888. And visit them online at www.surreywhiterockhomes.com.